Okay, new recruit firefighters, you're going through all of your coursework, you're getting really prepped, you're ready to go, but you've got one test to take and you're really nervous. The dreaded 2-minute turnout gear donning test. You know the one, you have to get all of your gear from not on to completely on air and ready to go inside of a building in less than 2 minutes. Are you nervous? How are you going to perform better and beat that test? I've got some tips for you. Let's discuss. Hey, welcome back to Hyper Academy All Access. My name is Ryan Fields-Spack. It's a tough world out there. How do you stand up and step out? You do it by getting your mind right. That's what Hyper Academy is here to discuss with you today. We talk a lot of things, both business, professional wise, and then I have a very soft place in my heart for the fire and EMS service. Having served as a captain with a large metro fire department for over 10 years, as well as serving as an officer in the training cadre for 3 years, I love talking about how we can improve upon our ability to perform better, both in the recruit environment as well as out in the field during really stressful fire EMS incidents. So this is one of those episodes today. We're going to talk a lot about how you can improve upon your ability to perform during that test, during that donning gear test. Before we get into it though, I want to give you a free gift. This is a gift that's going directly in line with what we're talking about today. A gift that will talk about how you can improve upon your ability to perform during stressful situations, lower your pulse, lower your blood pressure, lower your anxiety level so that you can get your hood on, get your bunker pants on, don all of your equipment faster by the mere fact that you are focused and more apt to perform. This guide is it's a mindfulness exercise. It talks about how first just breathe, brought about by Anne-Marie Rossi, is a fantastic tool. What it will do, you can click the link below at hyperacademy.mykajabi.com/10 seconds, and you can download this one-page guide, and it will walk you through all of the steps. Real fast, real quick read. Once you read it and you have the process down, you can utilize it and you can implement first just breathe, the mindfulness exercise, immediately, and it takes less than 10 seconds to do, and it will dramatically improve upon your ability to perform. Like I said, lower that pulse, lower your blood pressure and your anxiety, the adrenaline that's coursing in your system, so you can perform better. So if that sounds good to you, something you might benefit from, go to that link down below, hyperacademy.mykajabi.com/10 seconds. But let's get into it. All right, the 2-minute drill. You have to get all of your bunker gear on and get your air on and in a safe environment so that you can go in within 2 minutes, right? We break it up, 1 minute for the donning of the gear, another minute for getting on air, right? But when you combine the two, in most agencies, you have to be able to do that in under 2 minutes in order to pass and become a full-fledged firefighter. So what can you do to improve upon your ability to best that test and maybe even beat your peers in the process, right? There's a number of things that we're going to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about the process of donning and doffing quite yet. I want to go before that. A lot of the things that we talk about at Hyper Academy are how to make your mind perform better. You can make your mind perform better typically in 4 separate ways, and I'm going to talk about all 4 of those in short right now so we can dive a little bit deeper into it in other episodes of the Hyper Academy All Access show as well. The first, meditation. You may say, meditation, Ryan, what does meditation have to do with donning your gear? Meditation is the ability and gives your mind the ability to perform better during challenging situations because it lets your mind know when you're starting to wander off and think about other things. So meditation in its essence is sitting in one place, closing your eyes, setting a timer, and focusing on your breath. And then when your mind wanders away from your breath, like it inevitably will, you acknowledge that and bring it back to your breath. And you're acknowledging it and then bringing it back to your breath. By focusing on your breath and training your mind, giving your mind the reps to notice when it's been pulled in different directions, it allows you to thus focus more specifically on the task at hand. The meditation is the act of doing that exercise. Just like you do your PT in the morning, you do your meditation exercise in the morning to allow your mind to focus better as you move throughout the day. So that's the first thing that you want to try to do. Take 2 minutes if you can and do meditation. I've got some videos here in the Hyper Academy YouTube channel as well as on the podcast that talk about how to meditate. So you can go back and find those if you want. I'll link a couple below. But meditation is huge. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you can do that each day, you're going to perform better. The other component to that is mindfulness. Being mindful of the present moment, or more specifically, noting when your mind is not in the present moment, it's wandering, it's thinking about something else, and bringing it back, just like you do during meditation. Mindfulness is the act of being mindful in the present moment when things are going on during the day. So you can kind of see how this might be beneficial when you're getting ready to perform for that dawning test. Because if you're thinking about, gosh, I got another test later this afternoon, your mind isn't focused on what you have in the task at hand. That's where, if you do the first just breathe technique that's in the downloadable guide in the link below, you'll be able to have a mindfulness exercise that you can do in advance of you doing the actual evolution. And then you can be focused and in the present moment to perform better. So practicing meditation, being mindful in the present moment of what you are specifically doing and not allowing your mind to wander is another specific huge opportunity for you to be able to perform while you're getting ready for this test. The third thing that you really want to work on is presence. I talk a lot about presence, but one thing that you can think of in a nutshell with presence is the mind reflects the way that it's positioned and poised in its positioning. Right? So what I mean by that is if you look at a dog or an animal that's in a submissive posture, right? Ears back, tails between its legs, crouched down, covered up, it's a submissive animal and it's not wanting to cause any trouble. And more specifically, it wants to shirk and shrink away from any danger or stressful situation that it might be facing. So that dog is by very nature not able to perform well versus an alpha male dog, right? Broad shoulders, really tail up, ears up, really excited and enthralled about doing what it's going to do. The mere fact that those two dichotomous body postures, the submissive and the broad, those two animals will perform better by the mere fact of the way that they're presenting themselves. It's exactly how it works for humans too. Have you seen a human or a man or a woman that's very submissive in their posture? They're covering their neck. That person is not feeling more as confident as they could be. Whereas if you, prior to your test, stand with a broad posture, you have your hands on your hips, your shoulders up, your chin up, and you're really focusing on what you want to do, you're going to perform better by the mere fact that you have the confidence and your mind perceives that confidence and you perform as a result of it, right? So presence, definitely something to keep in mind. It is a fantastic opportunity for you to bring your best confident self to that testing block and be able to perform better. So meditation, mindfulness, presence, and then finally the mental rehearsal. The mental rehearsal is a huge one. I used to do this all the time when I was doing any type of medical or fire scene. Is prior to even pulling all of your gear out, do a mental rehearsal and visualize yourself donning each piece of equipment in order specifically, so you're getting that rep inside your mind and you can perform better as that comes. Donning your equipment in your mind from a mental rehearsal perspective is fantastic for this, but you can think of multitude of other things that you can utilize it for. Okay, you got to throw a ladder. You got to do a hose evolution. You got to wrap a hydrant. What are you going to do when you get out of the vehicle? Are you looking for traffic? All the things that you have to do as a recruit in the fire service, all of those steps, do those mental rehearsals ahead of time, and you'll be able to have one more rep in your body and your mind so that you can perform better when you're physically doing it, right? So those are the 4 things that you can do well in advance of you actually doing this specific task of donning and doffing that equipment, right? Next, all right, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, right? The layout. Everybody has their own way of setting up their gear for the donning test. For me personally, I had my way, which I'll quickly go through here. Whatever works for you, but make sure that as you have your layout set up and in place, it's the same every single time, and that you're doing it in an order that will allow you to be faster as you move forward, right? So for me in particular, my bunker pants were always the first step, right? I made sure I had them set, I made sure I had them open correctly, and I made sure that my shoulder straps were set so that they wouldn't get caught up in between my legs, right? So really set that up and in place. Your hood. For me, the hood went straight on top of my bunker pants with the back of the hood flipped up. So it was the first thing that I could get on and toss over my head, right? So I toss my hood over, get my bunker pants on. I have my jacket laid out. I typically had it upside down so that I could just grab the collar of the jacket with my hood up over my head, flip it over, pop my hands in, make sure that I'm in place, zip up, button up, clasp up, however your bunker jacket is, and then take your hood off and tuck it around the back of your collar. So you've got that up, you've got that all in place. Now, jump down to your SCBA. Same thing, I would have my SCBA upside down, and then I would go immediately turn on the air, checking the pressure on the bottle, checking the pressure on my gauge, making sure all my alerts and warnings and the vibra alert go off, right? So all of that set. As soon as that's set, toss it directly over my head, get it all tightened down. So you've got that all in place, right? And then going straight for my mask. Pop that mask on, get it nice and tight, do my seal check, pull the hood back over, and then I'm checking with my ungloved hand to make sure I don't have any voids, because that's an automatic fail, right? To get that in place. Then get my helmet on. As soon as I have my helmet on, get that nice and tightened down, then I get my gloves on first. And you can kind of choose which way you want to do this. I would put my gloves on first so that they're on, they're ready, and then final thing, I'm clicking on my air. Primarily because that gives me just that little bit of extra air to be able to utilize when I'm actually going into a structure fire, so it's good muscle memory that way. But then you don't have to worry about, once you're on air, funneling to get your gloves on, right? Get that clap, and then you're under the 2 minutes. So those are the ways as far as how I did my layout. I'd be curious if you have a different way that you did your layout, or you are doing your layout. Put that in the comments below. Let's talk. Let's see who has the fastest layout process, and put your times in there. I'd be curious what some of the fastest times that we're seeing out there today. Finally, the final thing I want to bring up is, you may have heard this before, but it's called slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? So don't go through this whole process by trying to go as fast as humanly possible. If you take that little extra half second to make sure that your bunker straps are in the right position before you pull up, to make sure that your hood is nice and in place, those are the things that you won't have to go back and redo later. So going nice and slow, relatively speaking, and smoothly will speed you up, because it will compound on itself downstream, right? So things to think about. And that's really where the benefit of the first 4 components that we talked about. If you're doing your meditation, you're in a mindful, present state of mind, you're confident because you've been doing your presence exercises and you've done your mental rehearsals, all of those different things will set you up for success to be slow and smooth and fast, right? So something to really think about to really dive into this. I hope this helped. Let me know how you do on your test. I'm rooting for you. Thank you for joining the fire service. I think this is one of the most fantastic callings one can take on. You are doing a great service for our country. I'm very happy for you. And let's continue the conversation. If you like this type of content, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of it, give a subscribe. And make sure to get that guide in the description below to talk more about it. Hope you're having a great week. Talk to you soon, and have a good day. Thank you.